Proud to serve northeastern and central Pennsylvania. This is WNEP 16, the news station. Now, Frank Andrews, Dorothy Lucy, meteorologist Noreen Clark, and Jay Kristopher on sports. This is Newswatch 16 Midday.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Newswatch 16 Midday for this Thursday. I'm Frank Andrews. For the last days, we have been telling you about the problems in Grenada, and we here in northeastern Pennsylvania have been enduring the anxiety of the Zaboski family in West Wyoming because of Michael, who is with us live now along with his mother and father. Student at a medical school in Grenada. You got out, evacuated by Army Rangers. Can you tell us what happened, Michael? You are the best source of news right now.
Okay. Well, the first thing that happened was I was asleep at True Blue campus. I was in the second dorm, and the first thing I heard was a lot of droning of planes overhead. And shortly after that, there was a lot of sporadic gunfire, cannons, anti-aircraft stuff, and it woke us right up. I rolled out of bed. I yelled to my roommate, "Get your pants on, let's get rolling." And we quickly got dressed as quick as we could, and quickly I put a pack together of stuff that I needed and got under the bed and waited it out. Now, during this time, there was a lot of gunfire going on all over the place.
You know, you seem to suggest that when you heard the gunfire, of course you would have known something was wrong, but did you expect an invasion? Did you expect there was trouble coming?
No, we didn't. We knew it was a touchy situation. It was very dangerous. We had heard from a Major Straub of the Revolutionary Military Council of Grenada that an invasion was coming up, but we disbelieved him strongly. We didn't think that there was going to be anything like this.
You know, we've all been going through this situation. Your mother and your father, we have been talking to them. They have been anxious. You know, it's almost like I want to congratulate you, give you a trophy, say, welcome home. It's so good to have you back in this area. How do you feel right now?
It's great to be home. It's great to be home. There's nothing like home, I'll tell you that. I miss the foliage, and I miss the people, and my friends, and my family.
We heard all kinds of horror stories about a shoot-on-site curfew in Grenada when this Marxist regime took over, about the president sending the troops in because he was concerned about the students. Were you ever afraid for your life? I mean, what was the situation like? That intense as far as you're concerned?
Yes. In fact, I wrote it in a letter. I don't think it reached here yet, if it ever does. But during the shoot-on-site curfew, which happened as soon as the coup, I was in the middle of an anatomy exam, and they told us about it. So we quickly we finished that exam. We bussed back to the campus and we waited, and it was really rough. I thought maybe that night that somebody would come in and finish us off in our sleep, but we were okay that night. Nothing happened, and there were a lot of reassurances from our administration and from the government itself. This Major Stroud came again, and he told us we were all right. That they were never going to harm the students, and in fact, this Stroud said they were going to protect us from an invasion. And we were thinking, well, we don't want to be protected because it's going to be us if it's going to.
We know you were on this plane that landed here. Of course, so we're going to take a look at this right now on Newswatch 16 Midday as it's landing at the Avoca Airport. Can you tell us what you felt as you knew you were going to see your mom and dad and your family again?
Oh, it was great. How could you express so much joy? I miss these people so much. I just had to get home. I just wanted to see them, and it was enough. That's all I could say.
I said when Michael came in that we feel like we've known you for so long. We've been through this. Prayers have been offered up, for your safety from everybody. Your mother has been like a pillar of strength here, and your father.
From the other end too.
I can imagine. I can imagine.
We had a religious service which I helped set up, and we tried to make it non-denominational. We had the whole campus, and we sang "America the Beautiful" loud enough to bring the rafters down.
Do you support what the president did? Do you think he was right in sending those troops in?
Without a doubt. And anyone who says it is definitely wrong, because they weren't there. We were in that country, and we knew very much what was going on, and there were some things we didn't know on the side for the president. So I mean, here we are biased against him, and yet I have that opinion.
What did you personally go through? How did you get out of the situation?
How did I get?
Was there fighting right around your dorm, and how did you finally get to safety?
There was heavy fighting around our dorm. They had to free us. The Rangers came in. The Alpha Company, the 1st Ranger Battalion, 75th Infantry came in. They surrounded our dorms. They made a perimeter. As soon as they had it fairly secure, they rushed us into the large lecture hall, which is in the center of the compound. And from that moment on, there was fighting all around. They tried to spread it out. They made a decent perimeter. A lot of fighting went in. One mortar hit one of the dorms, but fortunately we were out of it, blew that one up partially. A bullet whizzed into the 5th dorm, went over some people's heads, but we were all saved. If it wasn't for those Rangers, we wouldn't be here right now.
The only information we were getting, of course, through Pentagon sources and shortwave radio broadcasts. One was from a former Wilkes College student who was broadcasting. But as far as you know, were any of the students injured at all?
No student has been injured as yet. And with the competency of those Rangers, I don't think there's going to be.
Okay, we also heard reports that some of the students had to dive into the surf and swim to helicopters, and then they were lifted up by a winch. Do you know anything about that?
Okay, yes, I do. From myself at True Blue, we were were in a fairly safe zone. By the time we were evacuated, we were near the airport. They had a perimeter. The 82nd Airborne was in. We were all right. Grand Anne's campus, which is a 15-minute bus ride away, was a different story. They were surrounded by Cuban forces that were dug in. They had a lot of heavy machinery, a lot of heavy weapons, and so it was difficult to go in and assault them, so the Rangers hadn't done it yet. What they did was they landed in with, they brought in helicopters in parallel lines right in onto Grand Anne's beach. And in the meantime, some of the Rangers went into Grand Anne's, which we had been in communication with telephone, and so we had some information to them, but they were waiting in specific dorm rooms that the Rangers knew. As soon as the Rangers came in there, they gave the knocks, they gave the go-aheads, everyone got out. They made them run like hell down the beach and out to the helicopters. They had to rush into the water and dive into helicopters.
My heavens. We want to ask you another question. Mrs. Zaboski, I understand it's your birthday. There's no greater gift. A couple comments, please.
Well, like you just said, there's no greater gift than having him back home. I just didn't realize how bad things were, and I'm just getting a little bit more shakier now than I was, just thinking what he did go through.
Yeah, we were kind of noticing that as he was describing mortars hitting the dorms. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, we didn't think it was that close, really, because nowhere in the media did you hear that they were in any danger, really, directly.
Mr. Zaboski.
Yes, this is the first time we're hearing this, of course, also, and it is miraculous that all of them have gotten out unscathed.
You folks, I said this before the show. We've got to say it again. You need to be complimented. You said you had that mother's intuition he was going to call. You were like pillars of strength and supported a lot of people. I think that needs to be said.
Well, I know Mike. I know he's an organizer, and I can imagine he did a lot of organizing there, and I know he's going to tell me he did. Because I know when he was little, or even when he grew up, whenever there was a camping trip or anything, he was the head of it all. He knew how to survive, and I think it just followed through.
Well, to borrow a phrase from Mr. Shakespeare, all's well that ends well.
All's well that ends well. I want to ask you one other question, Mike.
Sure.
We hear reports now that what the president did was prevent another Iranian hostage situation from developing. Knowing the political situation in Grenada as it was, if we did not make that invasion and rescued the students, what would have happened in your opinion?
I think that's a very good possibility. You know, who could project the future? I can't see it, but and that's what our administration was saying. They said we don't have a crystal ball. We can't tell what's going to happen. But there was fear of that, and I think the president was very justified in his fear of it. And just by the fact that they were entrenched around the Grand Anne's campus, I mean, they had those people surrounded. They couldn't get out. They were basically hostages the way it was. So I think it's very probable.
Sorry, I said that was the final question. One more final question. This morning, the military says that they have seized a cache of weapons, sophisticated Soviet weapons, more Cuban soldiers than they expected. Did you see the signs of a military buildup that would have threatened U.S. security while you were there?
Beyond all doubt. I talked to some of the helicopter pilots who flew in on what they call the back door, which was the Prime Minister's house, and they expected nothing there, and the CIA reports had said there was nothing. When they got there, they were blasted at by all kinds of anti-aircraft stuff, which was brought in within the last 2 or 3 days. Beyond all doubt, there was a Cuban military buildup. Yeah.
Michael, welcome home.
Thank you.
God bless you. It's good to be back in northeastern Pennsylvania. Good to have you. Congratulations to you both, and we're proud to have the honor to interview you.
High school football 1983, Newswatch 16 Sports. High school football, all the highlights, all the scores on Newswatch 16 Sports Final, Friday night on Newswatch 16 Update.
Welcome back, everyone, to Newswatch 16 Midday. Noreen, you said you're optimistic. Now tell us why.
Well, Frank, first of all, it's getting close to the season where designer hats, scarves, and boots are almost a necessity, and we could have used them this morning. Let's check today's current temperature outside, and it is chilly. It is 42 degrees, the relative humidity 82%. The winds are out of the northwest, and they're cold at 15 miles per hour. At times, they're gusting to more, and the barometric pressure is on the rise. Checking today's satellite picture, we have cold air moving in on northwesterly winds. This is producing the cloudiness that we've had over us today. Over the southeastern portion of the state, they've had partly sunny skies, and out to the west, they've had partly sunny. But we've had a patch of clouds over northeastern Pennsylvania that's extended up into the New York area, and this has caused a few sprinkles, not only sprinkles, but in the higher elevations, it's been mixed with some light snow and some sleet. So it's been a rather messy morning, but we are getting some drier air moving in for this afternoon, and this is going to cause some clearing conditions. You will see some sun this afternoon, and that is a optimistic outlook. As far as tomorrow, I'm looking for warmer temperatures with partly sunny skies. And so tomorrow looks like a beautiful autumn day ahead. And here's how I see the forecast. We have cloudiness until this afternoon, then drier air will move in, changing to partly sunny skies. But before that dry air comes in, you could feel a few sprinkles, possibly mixed with snowflakes or sleet in the higher elevations. The high temperature this afternoon in the upper 40s. We're looking for a cold night ahead under fair skies. The low by morning 35. Tomorrow will be warmer under partly sunny skies with a cool breeze. The high temperature near 60. Saturday partly cloudy, and Sunday looks like some sunshine. So Frank, I'm rather optimistic about what's coming up this afternoon.
Noreen, I think when Michaelzabowski landed at the airport, the sun came out.
Yeah, I agree,
Whether
really.
it did or not. Thank you very much. Sports is next on Newswatch 16 Midday. Jay Kristopher will have the electric scoreboard.
Everything from whitewater to black powder to beavers, biking, and bows. From copperheads to whitetails to casting, calling, and crows. You'll see stalking fish, fixing poles, rainbow trout, and snowy owls, setting traps, drilling holes, earthworms, and waterfowls. Whether you're a fan of the Eagles, Browns, Bears, or Giants, or of Joe and Stan and the Mountain Man, or some Tom Duck, or Harry, watch hiking, frying, riding, tying, skiing, and flying on Pennsylvania Outdoor Life, Saturday at 7.
Welcome back, everyone. In the midst of all the news, we do have sports. Hello, Jay.
Good afternoon, Frank. We'll get right to it. Let's go to the electric scoreboard. National Hockey League action. We're looking at Detroit over Buffalo 6-5. Winnipeg outlasts the New York Rangers 7-5. Washington shuts out New Jersey by a score of 2-0. In the other games played, Toronto 8, Edmonton 3. Calgary was a 5-4 winner, downing the St. Louis Blues. Ralph, finally, Joe Paterno, one of the coolest and winningest coaches in the ranks of college football, recently commented on the action of Marcus Dupree. He was the runaway back of Oklahoma who abruptly left that school. Said Paterno, Dupree received too much publicity as a freshman, and he said that won't happen at Penn State. So, Paterno has taken steps to avoid that problem. He won't allow any information on his first-team players to be included in the school's media guide. That's the freshman. Paterno stresses education. He thinks neglect of that fact has contributed to the situation experienced by Mr. Dupree 2 weeks ago. To being the coolest and the winningest coach in the nation, we would like to add very wise also. And that's the afternoon sports line. And Franco, good interview with Mr. Zaboski.
Thank you very much. Inspiring. Makes all of our
Indeed.
days, I guess. And we'll be right back with more of Newswatch 16 Midday.
And as cold weather approaches, corky cells are formed at the base of the leaf stem. This cuts off the food and water to the leaves. The green chlorophyll fades away, and the other colors, which have always been there, come to the surface. Enjoy the great outdoors of northeastern and central Pennsylvania. But remember, only you can keep this area clean, as well as green, red, orange, yellow.
As we say goodbye, we want to give you a look once again at the homecoming of Michaelzabowski of West Wyoming as he came back from Grenada and all the trouble. And for the team, I'm Frank Andrews. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye, everyone.